I'm inside the Chavi coffee shop now, enjoying my usual iced cappuccino. I just thought while I was sitting here, I would tell you about that new mapping technology that I was just talking about. And it's a website and an app called What3Words. The author of that book, the address book, Deirdre Mask, she talks about this new technology. I don't know if you'd really call it a new technology because it is basically based on Google Maps and satellite maps of the whole world. And now, of course, you can pinpoint any place in the world. I can click on Google Maps and drop a pin there, and I can get latitude and longitude, a whole series of numbers, and then I can share that link with other people and show them the exact point that I'm talking about. But it's a little bit unfriendly, those long strings of numbers. And of course, you can also use addresses like I've been talking about. I can tell you that my guest house here in Mesot is located at this number on this street. And you can find it that way. There's various ways of sharing information. But what What3Words did, what makes it innovative for me, is that they took the entire world, this map of the entire world, the surface of the entire planet, and divided it into little squares. And each square is 10 feet by 10 feet. Or about 3 meters by 3 meters. And every single 3 meter by 3 meter square is associated with 3 random words. I don't know if this will show up on the GoPro, but I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. This is a map of Mesot, and this is the location of my guest house in Mesot. There's the street there. And it looks like a normal Google Maps sort of image. Not a lot of detail on it though. But as I pinch in, as I zoom in, suddenly all those little squares popped up. Can you see them? And if I go in deeper, I'm not very good at pinching and zooming. But now maybe you can see all the little squares. And then if we change to a satellite view, you can see all the buildings around there. So you can see that this building over here, which is represented probably by one address number, it actually is made up of about 7 by about 28 of these individual squares. So now you suddenly have a lot more precision in terms of mapping. So what I did, which was kind of amusing, is that I went to my guest house and I figured out exactly where my room is, and not only where my room is, where my bed is located in my room, because my bed fits right inside one of these 10 foot by 10 foot squares. And I marked it, and that square, when you click on it, gives you 3 words. And there they are up at the top. Battling, trailing, and adding. And those are just completely random words that their computer program generated. And those 3 words in that order represent that square. So it's something you kind of have to play with and start thinking about to see just how interesting and just how useful that is. Because now, instead of sharing coordinates with another person for a location, you just have to tell them 3 words. I've been playing around with this What3Words app and having a lot of fun with it. So I went back on Google Maps on the What3Words app. I tracked down the hostel in Kuala Lumpur where I was staying before, and that's where my bicycle, my touring bike, and all my travel gear and all my other camera gear was all in storage there in Malaysia. And I went I zeroed in on that hostel, and I figured out from the roof of the building like exactly where my bicycle is stored in that building. I tracked down the exact 10 foot by 10 foot square where my bicycle is, and that square is represented by the words drops, belonging, outgoing. So if you go onto the What3Words website or download the app, and then you just do a search for drops, belonging, outgoing, those 3 words will pop up the exact point on the whole planet where my bicycle is currently located. And I could do the same thing right here in a Chavi coffee shop. I can tell you exactly where this table is. I think I did that actually. So just for fun, if you type in suffer tugging napkins on the What3Words app, that will give you a little square of exactly where I'm sitting on the planet right now. It's not the location of this coffee shop. It's not the location of this building or even this neighborhood. It's this 10 by 10 square that I'm currently occupying, which is really kind of interesting. And one useful attribute of this system is that you don't even need addresses at all. You don't need streets and numbers, because there are large parts of the world that don't have any streets or numbers. So there might be like a wide open field in the countryside or a forest, and even that forest is exactly the same as a city in terms of this website, in terms of this technology. So you could be in the middle of a forest and standing beside a tree, and then you can pinpoint that exact location using one of these 10 foot by 10 foot squares, which is marked by a 3-word combination. So yeah, it has all kinds of possibilities and ways that you could use this. I don't know how tied in it is with other technologies on the internet right now. And maybe the only way it can be useful is if I have the What3Words app and you have it as well, and then I can share it with you. So you kind of have to have access to What3Words in order for it to be useful. I don't know how closely it's tied in with Google Maps and things like that yet. But anyway, I just found this to be quite interesting, something to play around with. I tracked down my boyhood bedroom back in Canada, where I was born and where I grew up, because on Google Maps and satellite view, of course, you can see your house where you used to live, and I figured out exactly where my bedroom was, and then I figured out what 10 foot by 10 foot square, where my bed was, where my bedroom was in that house, and then I could come up with a 3-word code for that exact spot. So yeah, it's just a fun thing to play around with. What3Words?